It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is episode F69. Alrighty doody fruity tooty, let's get into the words. Let's just do it. The first word is fetor. Fetor. Fetor or fetor. F-E-T-O-R. This is a noun from the 15th century. A strong offensive smell, and the synonym is stench. Oh, you've heard me say it before. The bog of eternal stench. Is that all it does, is smell? Oh, believe me, that's enough. So this is tagging on to, where did we have this? We had a smelly word in the previous episode, didn't we? Where is it? Where are you? Fetid? Yes, fetid. So the fetor, I don't know why it's pronounced fetor. The fetor is the smell. The gross and nasty, nasty smell. Well, maybe then our sound effect should be ugh. Ugh. The next word is fetoscope. Fetoscope, noun from 1972. Number 1, an endoscope for visual examination of the pregnant uterus. The uterus that is pregnant. The uterus that has a fetus in it. Endoscope for visual. So, I guess this is literally something that goes into the vagina, into the uterus, to see the fetus, because it is a fetoscope. Number 2, a stethoscope for listening to the fetal heartbeat. I guess it's a very specific kind of stethoscope. Can you not put a normal stethoscope onto the belly of a pregnant person to hear the heartbeat? I'm not sure. So there's two kinds of fetoscopes. One's for seeing the baby, I guess, and one's for hearing the baby. Seems like they would have had different names, but I guess not. Fetoscopy. Fetoscopy, that is a noun. I think it's pretty obvious where this word comes from, so now we're going to go, whoa, whoa. Now we have fetor, F-E-T-T-E-R, first form noun from before the 12th century. Number 1, a chain or shackle for the feet. It's like handcuffs for the feet, feet cuffs. Fetor, I've not heard of this. I am aware that sometimes in prisons and such, you must bind the person's feet together with a chain. Number 2, something that confines, and the synonym is restraint. Anything that is restraining something, someone, is a fetter. Well, maybe the etymology will tell us why. Well, it's basically just from foot. The Old English word fot, which means foot. So it became fetter in Middle English. Because you're putting it on the feet. At least that was maybe the original ones. And then they just kept on using it for all the stuff, all the restraints. Fetter. Why have I not heard of this? Why? Please tell me. Woo! Next is the second form of fetter. This one is the transitive verb from before the 12th century. Number 1, to put fetters on. And the synonym is shackle. Shackle up those feet. Right now, we can't let those feet go anywhere. We gotta fetter them with a fetter. Number 2, to restrain from motion, action, or progress. Oh, progress? What sort of progress are we talking about? Any progress? We need to, I don't like the idea of not progressing in some way. But I guess if you gotta restrain something, just anything, you're fettering it. A synonym is hamper. Hamper the growth. Please, don't fetter the growth of this podcast. I would like you to do the opposite. No additional etymology, so we're going to go P-U. Now we have the word fettle, F-E-T-T-L-E. First form, noun from 1740. State or condition of health, fitness, wholeness, spirit, or form. All of those things, a state or condition of all of those things is fettle. And this is often used in the phrase, in fine fettle. I'm feeling in fine fettle this morning. I did a little fitnessing on the bike. I did some stretching. The one thing that's really bothering me is I must have slept funny a couple of nights ago because yesterday and today I've got this weird feeling all through like in my collarbone and my neck and kind of like all around here. But the thing that's weird about it is that the soreness is like on the surface of the skin. Usually this like tightness when I sleep funny is deeper down, but this time it's like do I have a rash? No, I don't think I have anything. It's like why is it so sore? And then sometimes it like flares up, it hurts. I don't know what's going on. My body is maybe not in fine fettle. Some things are fine. This fettle is fine. Some fettle is not fine. Okay, so now that was the first form. Now we gotta go. The second form of fettle is a verb from 1881. This is only transitive. And let's see, fettling. Okay, I believe it's the etymology that has some additional stuff, so we're going to come back to that. So, fettle, verb, is to cover or line the hearth of with loose material. Okay, interesting. Fettling the hearth. The stuff that you might be fettling the hearth with is sand or gravel. Putting sand or gravel around the hearth, cover the hearth, line the hearth with it. Is this when you're building the hearth? Are you using this to fill in the stuff? The example of I guess of the hearth is a reverberatory furnace. I don't think I've ever heard of a reverberatory furnace, which is very hard to say. A furnace, is it made to produce reverb? Or does it just happen to be very reverberatory? Are you using this to burn things? It's a furnace, I would think so. Fur, I assume, comes from fire. This is so interesting. To cover or line the hearth of, like a reverberatory furnace with loose material like sand or gravel. And maybe the etymology is going to help us here. It says it's a British dialect word. I guess certain Brits use this in this context. And it means, I guess, to set in order or get ready. Get ready, set, go. From the Middle English fetlen, which means to shape or prepare. Perhaps akin to the Old English fetion, which means to fetch. Maybe go get me some sand or gravel so I can fill in this thing. I can shape it. I can prepare this hearth, this furnace for use. There's more at the word fetch. And it became fettle. This one is interesting. Very, very interesting. If you are British and you use this word, can you please explain to me why, how, and why? Okay, that is it for fettle. Now we're going to go. Oh. The facial expressions, I think, really sell it. Now we have fettuccine. Fettuccine. This is, let's see, fettuccine, that's the one, and you can spell it F-E-T-T-U-C-C-I-N-E. Or what's the difference here? You are taking out, oh, I see, F-E-T-T-U-C-C-I-N-I. You can add an I at the end instead of an E. Or you can get rid of the second C. So you can spell it with one C or two C's, fettuccine, or you can spell it with an I at the end or an E at the end. Either way. Okay, what is this? what is this fettuccine? It is a noun from 1912. Pasta. Pasta in the form of narrow ribbons. Also, a dish of which fettuccine forms the base. So the fettuccine is not necessarily the dish with maybe the creamy white sauce that tastes so good and makes my arteries hard, my harderies. But it's just the pasta. The long ribbony pasta, skinny ribbony pasta is the fettuccine. And I will accept some fettuccine. Okay, so this is Italian, clearly. It is the plural of fettuccina, which is from fettuccia, which means small slice. Small slice, or ribbon, diminutive of feta, which has two T's, which means slice. We learned that in the feta cheese episode a couple episodes ago. Probably an alternative of offetta, which is from offa, which means flour cake. And so do they make pasta from flour? I never made pasta before. I think it's a bit of a process. I don't know. Maybe that's what they make pasta out of. So it went flour cake, and then you gotta cut it up into slices and ribbons, and that's where the name came from. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's fettuccine. But now, fettuccine does not make me go ooh woo woo. But that's the sound I gotta make, because now we are going on to fettuccine Alfredo. Two words. Alfredo has a capital A. And I am adding on the frrr, Alfredo, because it's fun. Let's see. Noun from 1961. 1961. A dish consisting of fettuccine with butter, Parmesan cheese, cream, and seasonings. It's called also fettuccine al Alfredo. It's a double al. That is spelled A-L-L apostrophe and then Alfredo with a capital A. Well, let's just talk about the ingredients real quick. Yes, you could veganize this. If I would like to have a vegan fettuccine Alfredo, please. But it is a very, very dairy-heavy meal. Butter, cheese, and cream, and of course the seasonings. What seasonings you putting in there? Maybe some garlic. I don't cook so much, so I don't know what seasonings are appropriate for a fettuccine Alfredo. All I know is that it requires a lot of dairy. So this is from Alfredo al Augusteo. That is a restaurant in Rome where it originated. And I would assume that maybe that's the name of somebody. I don't know what al Augusteo is. What's the al apostrophe in Italian? My finger got stuck. Let's see if we can look up what is al apostrophe. Where's the apostrophe button on my keyboard? There it is. In Italian. That's not what I want. I don't want that. I want, but I don't think it understands the apostrophe thing. What? If you know what this is, please do tell me. Let's see. I could do this. I could do. Let's see. Al apostrophe Alfredo. Is it what? It's just Alfredo. Is it the? I don't know what it is. Now I want some fettuccine Alfredo. Oh, I got to tell a story real quick. I was we were at a restaurant many years ago. There was a few of us, and and it was just some sort of local rural restaurant. And this somebody, we noticed on the menu that they had misspelled fettuccine. They had spelled it with an extra N in there somewhere. FETTUNCCINE, something like that. It was right there in the middle. And so a younger person who I was with decided that they were going to get the fettuccine Alfredo. And when the waitress came over, he literally said, I would like the fettuccine. And so ever since then, it's sort of an inside joke, probably just with myself. But I think if I said it to him now, he would remember it. So I often think of fettuccine instead of fettuccine. You can have that one. You can take it to the bank. You can also have that inside joke, even though you weren't there. Fettuccine Alfredo. Woo! Now we have the word fetus. Fetus. Noun from the 14th century. This is one long definition. It is an unborn or unhatched vertebrate, especially after attaining the basic structural plan of its kind. Interesting. Interesting to word it that way. So the egg and sperm do their thing. They get fertilized. They turn into, I think, a zygote, and they now have the structure, the plan, the blueprint to create whatever that thing, whatever that vertebrate will be. After attaining the basic structural plan of its kind. Is it a human? Is it a bird? Something with a spine? It's a vertebrate? Why don't we call other animals that are not vertebrates fetuses? Baby versions of those. Crabs? Those aren't vertebrates. What do we call a baby crab? Is it not a fetus? I don't know. I don't think so. But we have more. Specifically, a developing human from usually 2 months after conception to birth. So, and then it says compared to, yes, very important, the 1B definition for embryo, which I assume would be then those first 2 months. It's called an embryo, and then it's called a fetus after that, from 2 months, give or take, to about 9 months, when that's typically about how long, give or take, how long a pregnancy lasts. And so most of the time it is in the uterus, it's a fetus. And is it, I think it's a zygote right at the beginning, so I don't know when it becomes an embryo, and I don't know if maybe there's another word, another term at a certain stage there that's not zygote, not embryo, and not fetus. I don't know. But at a certain point, it becomes a baby, and then a toddler, and then a child, and then an adult. That's just pretty much how it goes. Let's see. What else to say about fetus? The etymology says this is a Latin word, which means act of bearing young or offspring, akin to the Latin, well, it's the same word, fetus, which means newly delivered or fruitful. And there's more at the word feminine. So comes from feminine. I feel like there should be more information here somewhere. I don't know, something. Newly delivered, fruitful. How were they using this in context exactly? And then they were like, well, that thing, that's a baby, and it comes from a woman, and it's a new thing. And it's the offspring. It's the fetus. We were all fetuses. Is the plural feti? It doesn't actually say what the plural is. It's probably fetuses or feti or something like that. We were all fetuses once. Oh, I remember it well. Way back in the day, all cozy, wozy, warm, and I can't think of another word. No, of course I don't remember that. I don't remember anything before like 4 or 5 years old. So, yeah, that's about all I can say about fetuses. I don't really know enough about the science. Although I will say it is interesting when you go to either like a museum or something and you get to see examples of how the baby grows. You know, these are ones that have passed away and they have them in jars, and you get to actually see the size of them. And I think I saw those in the human body exhibit, and that was fascinating. And the baby looks weird when it's real little, when it's an embryo, and maybe when it's a fetus, it looks quite strange. Okay, let's move on to... Now we have the word feud. Like a family feud? This is the first form. It is a noun from the 15th century. A mutual enmity or quarrel that is often prolonged or inveterate. Inveterate. I assume that's similar to prolonged. It's just going on forever. Especially the synonym blood feud. Is that like a family feud? Is that a feud between people who are blood related? I don't remember, but I must have read it in the B's. Feud is an intransitive verb as well. So this word comes from, let's see, Anglo-French feud, of Germanic origin, akin to the Old High German fehida, which means hostility or feud, from Old English fa, which means hostile, and there's more at the word foe, F-O-E. So yeah, if you are having a feud with somebody, then maybe they are your foe. You don't agree on something. Why can't we all just get along? Why can't everybody just be nice? Please. I have to, again, call out the show Family Feud, which has been going on for decades. I don't know, 50 years, 60 years, something. They've had a few hosts over the years, and we were just at a bar, and the Family Feud was on, and it's a very, very fun, interesting show. I'm trying to think if there was something. Oh, yes, I'm starting to remember the very silly thing that happened. The question was, and of course I'm mixing this up with the It's Always Sunny episode, which was also fantastic. You should watch that. But this was like, the question was, what is a reason that will make you stay inside? Why would you stay inside? And there were like 3 answers left, and nobody could get them, and they finally revealed them. And one of the answers, I think it was the lowest answer, was bad celeb / Biebs, like Bieber. So some people said that if there is a bad celebrity outside or Justin Bieber, I'm going to stay inside. And that one was really confusing. And then a few answers above there was another one that nobody could get, and it was apocalypse. Yes, the apocalypse would make me stay inside. And I thought that one was kind of interesting. It's like, what, are we talking about literally like everything has blown up and there's volcanoes everywhere and earthquakes, and it's like in the movies? Sure, that I would probably stay inside. The house might not exist, but I would try to stay inside. And then the one above that was zombies. A lot of people said zombies. It was pretty high up there in the list. And that made me really wonder about the human race. Woo! Now we have the second form of feud, noun from 1614. The synonym is the 1A definition for the word fee, F-E-E. So it doesn't say more than that, but there's a lot of etymology, so we got to figure out what this is. It's like you are paying a feud? Okay, so this is from Middle Latin feudum, which is an alternative probably influenced by Middle Latin allodum, or allodium, which means land not subject to rent or service. I'm trying to wrap my brain with so much information that I have to read. Land not subject to rent or service. So you cannot rent this land. Okay. And it is also from fio or fius, which is of Germanic origin, akin to the Old High German fihu, which means cattle. And there's more at the word fee. So I guess you're paying a fee for the cattle. You're getting the cattle, but you can't rent the land. I'm not entirely sure, but it's old. It's very old. It's from the 1600s. I guess the feud that we think of a fight between people probably came from this somehow. There was a feud over this land, over maybe who's paying the fee. I don't know. There's probably some story there. But now we got to go on to something I think is related. Woo-wee-woo! It's feudal, Feudal, adjective from 1602. Number 1, of, relating to, or having the characteristics of a medieval fee. Now, I do vaguely remember there was a lot of stuff about the word fee, things that I probably can't remember now. Let's see. Do we go back? Why are my paper clips all the way back here? I should have brought them forward. Let's see. Where is fee? Fee. That's feed. Right out here is fee. So the estate in land held in feudal law from a lord on condition of homage, and service. I think that episode just aired recently. Yep, just a couple of days ago. So it's the estate on the land. The piece of land is the fee. All these things are the fee. Inherited or heritable estate in land. So those are the fee. Okay, so we go back to feudal. It's of relating, having the characteristics of a medieval fee. So I guess it's maybe the land or something that's heritable or whatever. Number 2, of, relating to, or suggestive of feudalism, as in feudal law. And we're going to talk about feudalism in a second. And feudally is an adverb. So there's no more etymology about that one. Can't talk about that. I guess it's related to the previous word feud, which is that first definition of fee, the estate on the land in medieval times. So, yeah, so that was important to go back because it's not the actual money that's being spent. That came later, I guess. An estate in land held in feudal law from a lord on condition, right? So the lord has this land, and if you live there, live on that fee, on that feud, then you are in service to the lord. They are the landlord, a word I couldn't come up with right away before. Okay, interesting. It's all coming together. So yes, related to that thing is feudal, and that thing is also called feud, which probably led to fights. And now, the last word. Woo-wee! Feudalism. Feudalism. Noun from circa 1818. Number 1. This system... Oh, this is a biggie. The system of political organization prevailing in Europe from the 9th to about the 15th centuries, having as its basis the relation of lord to vassal, with all land held in fee, and as chief characteristics homage, how do I say that word? The service of tenants under arms and in court, wardship, and forfeiture. And I feel like I should read that again for everybody. It was the system of political organization prevailing in Europe. So it was the system that they used in politics, basically the governments, from the 9th century to the 15th century, just in Europe. And its basis, having as its basis the relation of lord to vassal, so lord to somebody below the lord, I guess, with all land held in fee, and as chief characteristics. Okay, so these are the chief characteristics of this feudalism system. Homage, which I guess is like your... I'm not going to describe that. That's one characteristic. Another one is the service of tenants under arms and in court. Wardship, you're being a ward to the lord, maybe? And forfeiture, I guess you forfeit things if something goes wrong. I'm not sure. So these were all aspects of feudalism, and I'll put a link in the show notes for feudalism. These are the Middle Ages, I guess. Medieval, I don't know what the medieval times were, but these are the old years. I think of, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Game of Thrones. I don't know what years those are supposed to take place. but they have all that same feeling of very old school, and there's the Lord, and there's people who work for the Lord and pay homage, I guess, and all that stuff. Okay, number 2. Any of various political or social systems similar to medieval feudalism. So after the 15th century, coming back all these years later, any sort of system that's like it, we also call feudalism. Feudalist is a noun, and feudalistic is an adjective. Are there people who think that we should be living this way with lords and vassals and wardship and stuff like that? I don't know. Maybe. Okay, now I would like to read you the word so I can pick a word of the episode. Today we had fetor, that's the stench, fetoscope, fetor, fettle, fettuccine alfredo, fetus, feud, feudal, and feudalism. I'm just gonna pick fetor, F-E-T-O-R, as the word of the episode. Oh my God, did you smell that smell? It's so bad, it's a feeder. A feeder is a really bad smell. Yeah. Woo-wee! All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's talk about some movies. I'm catching up. I'm getting close. I went to see The Wild Robot in the theater, and yes, it made me cry. Holy darn, you should see that movie. And then we watched Smile 2. Which was really good. And the first one I thought was good. These are horror movies. And so, I did not have very good expectations for this one. A horror sequel? But I thought it was really good. And both of us were like, can she be nominated for an Oscar for this performance? Holy crap, she did such an amazing job. So you should watch the first Smile, I guess, and then watch the second Smile. They sort of take it up a notch, don't they? All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show, and until next time, this is Spencer, dispensing stinky information. Goodbye.